Hello investors, welcome to Simply Stocks. In our previous two videos, we have studied 8 small cap stocks that have announced very good June quarter results and the earning season is still ongoing. So today in the third part of our Q1 FY26 results series, we have brought for you 4 new small cap businesses that have announced excellent results. We will understand their business models, we will look at their results, and we will also try to figure out how their future or what their future looks like. But keep in mind that this video is not a buy or sell call on any of these stocks. It is not a buy or sell recommendation. With that being said, let's get started. The first business that we will discuss is Timex Group. You must have heard of Timex. They manufacture and sell watches. They have their own brand, Timex, and apart from that, they have also started selling watches of other luxury brands such as Versace, Guess, Philippine, Adidas, etc. in India on a license basis. Now, let's quickly look at their results and then I'll tell you where this growth is coming from. So, in the months of April to June, that is in the June quarter, Timex sales have increased by 55%, and because of the small base of last year, their EBITDA has seen growth of 361%. Meanwhile, EBITDA margin has also increased from 4.4% to 13%. And similarly, their profit has increased from just 2.4 CR last year to almost 15 CR in this Q1. And not just this quarter, from the last 3-4 quarters, Timex has been posting very good results. And it has also been my portfolio stock since then. So if you are in watches, you would know that Timex is an affordable or a mass premium brand. Its range starts from 3,000 rupees and goes all the way up to 25,000, 30,000 rupees. So their Timex brand has seen 77% growth. Apart from this, they are also working on premium watches. You will see that they have partnered with famous luxury brands like Guess, GC, Philippine. Guess sales have increased by 33% and Versace, which is a slightly premium brand, its sales have increased by 18%. And to increase their sales, they are working on multiple channels. Like sales from stores have increased by 22%. In e-commerce, where you have Myntra and Amazon and other websites, there has been 102% growth. That means that business has doubled within just 1 year. And likewise, they have grown their defense canteen business too. In the last 1 year, their defense canteen network has increased by 77% from 320 to 565. Now, let's quickly talk about valuation. So, in Q1, their sales was almost 170 CR and profit was almost 15 CR. If we look at all 4 quarters of FY25, that is last year, then we get an estimate that they will be able to do at least 170 CR sales in every quarter of FY26. So for this year, we can expect at least 15 CR into 4, that is 16 crore in bottom line for Timex. So even though this business is at 75 PE based on last year's profit, but if we value Timex on FY26 estimated profit, then its 1 year forward PE comes out to just 40. It is slightly high, but the business is from retail sector. It has brand advantage. It is growing at 40 to 50% rate. So putting together all those pointers, the valuation seems okay to me. But what is the risk here? So the first thing that I can see is that their distribution network is not keeping up with their sales growth. If you see, they have reduced multi-brand outlets by 13% in 1 year. Apart from this, there is no growth in other channels. Yes, the defense canteen network has increased by 77%. If we assume that this growth is coming from portfolio upgradation or portfolio change and from e-commerce, then there is a risk that after 2-3 quarters, we might see a slowdown. And the second risk is that their management does not do conference calls. Because of this, there is not much data available with retail investors to know in which direction the business is going, although the company keeps releasing investor presentations. So overall, Timex is a good fast-growing business that you can study independently. As incomes are rising in India, people are spending more on their lifestyle. Because of that, companies like Timex are also benefiting. The second business that we will study is CarTrade Tech. CarTrade is a technology company. It runs apps and websites for the purchase and sale of new and second-hand cars and motorcycles. And they have several platforms such as Carwale, Bikewale, CarTrade, Shri Ram Mall, etc., where you can go and get information about new and old vehicles and you can also buy them. So CarTrade is a platform business that sorts of connects people who want to sell cars to those who want to buy cars, or basically customers. And on their platforms, auto dealers, auto companies, etc., come and run ads so that they can increase their sales. They also have this remarketing segment where they facilitate the auction or basically bidding of vehicles. Apart from this, They have recently acquired the business of OLX India. So broadly speaking, this company works in the automobile sector. But the ironical thing is that this business will perform well when the auto sector performs badly. So what happens is when the demand scenario for cars, bikes, etc. is low, then in such situations, competition among car dealers and car companies to put ads increases because they have to bring sales after all, right? And in such a scenario, what happens is that these car sellers start putting more ads to get sales, and ad rates also start going up. So car trade gets better margins. Rest, if you track the auto sector yourself, then you might be aware that currently there is no growth at all in the sector. Only one or two companies like Force and TVS are doing somewhat okay. Apart from them, the entire sector is struggling. So as long as auto sector struggles, car trade will keep benefiting from it. The listings on their platforms will increase and ads will increase. Now, if we look at the results, their total sales have grown by 22% in this. Their consumer segment, which includes car wale, bike wale, and car trade platforms, has shown very good growth of 32%. Similarly, the remarketing segment, where auction of vehicles happens, that has shown 35% growth. But if you look, their OLX India business is struggling. Because of that, consolidated sales growth has remained low at 22%. If we come further down, their net profit has doubled from last year to reach 47 CR, and all these figures are in lakhs, so do keep that in mind. In the same direction, you will see their auction listings have had very good growth of 35%, and compared to the last year, they have sold 29% more vehicles. We can say that this business is seeing very good growth. Rest, these are just Q1 numbers. Later in Q2 and Q3, the festive season starts, so new models are launched. That's why going forward also, car trade will remain in focus. So car trade is also a good business which you can look into yourself. Yes, valuation is slightly high, but if their OLX India business starts seeing good growth, then that will be a very big trigger here. Another benefit car trade's model has is that it is a technology business. There is no role of raw material here, right? They just have to pay salaries to people, to software engineers. In such cases, what happens is when sales growth comes, your profit growth gets even better. Like here, we got to see 106% profit growth on just 22% sales growth. This is a big advantage in technology businesses. Apart from this, there is the moat of networking effect. You can understand it this way, that you as a customer are using Carwale's website because sellers are there, and sellers are there because customers like you are there. So in a platform business, this is a big moat which competition cannot break so easily. Now, if you are liking this video so far, do give me a thumbs up. You can also subscribe to our channel Simply Stocks, where we bring multiple such videos every week. Honestly, your likes and subscribes are our only motivation so that we keep bringing such high quality research to you for free. So do like this video, and you can also subscribe to our channel as well. Let's come back to our discussion. The third business we will cover is Home First Finance, which is in the business of giving home loans of 10 to 15 lakh rupees, which are called affordable housing loans. Here you will see in this screenshot 83% of their loan book, meaning how many loans they have given. So 83% of that book is housing loans, and 16% are loans against property. Out of these, the majority, around 68 to 70%, are salaried class people, and rest of their customers are self-employed. Now talking about their ticket size or loan size in their loan book, 30% share is of loans in the range of 10 to 15 lakh rupees. 22% of loans are in 15 to 20 lakh rupees range, while around 21% of their loan book is in the 5 to 10 lakh rupees home loan size. These are their target segments. Home First borrows this money from well-known banks like HDFC Bank, Axis Bank, SBI, Bank of Baroda, and then lends it forward to its customers in the form of housing loans. They have 158 branches in 142 cities of 13 states and union territories of the country. And also, they have a strong presence in Gujarat, Maharashtra, and Tamil Nadu. You can see that they have given 55% of loans in these three states only. Now, let us talk about their results. Home First's AUM, or assets under management, grew 29% in 1 year to reach almost 13,500 CR. AUM, or loan book, is the money that an NBFC or bank can use to lend further. As we look at sales growth in other companies, in NBFCs, we have to track AUM growth. Their NPAs have increased a bit, but they are fine for now. So there is nothing to worry about there. Rest you will see here that their net profit has increased by 35.5% compared to the last year. But in the same period, their ROE decreased by 1.4 percentage points to almost 15%. But don't worry, this is not a negative point. I'll tell you why. Because Home First has actually raised equity capital this quarter. So in such a case, what happens is when your equity base increases, ROE comes down. You will see this in the news clip that they have raised almost 1250 CR from HDFC, Fidelity Funds, etc. If any NBFC wants to grow, then they will have to keep raising funds like this. And that's why you will see that their promoter holding has been decreasing for the past 2 to 3 years. FIIs and DIIs have been investing in the company, so their stake has been continuously increasing. With this capital raise, they have enough funds for the next 3 to 4 years. And going forward, Home First is targeting to grow its AUM at 30% rate, which makes it a very good, fast-growing business. Here, let us take 2 minutes to understand the housing sector, affordable housing sector, because this will help you to understand Home First's business model and growth much better. So see, even home loans come in different sizes. Loans above 35 lakh rupees are called prime and super prime. These are taken for buying big expensive homes or apartments in big cities. They are usually taken by big businessmen, professionals, and salaried individuals. Then loans below that with a ticket size of around 25 lakh rupees are classified as emerging, and small loans of up to 15 lakh rupees are called your affordable housing loans. Affordable housing loans are mostly taken in small towns and villages, and most of the customers are from lower middle class, and low income households. Now, see, the lower you go down the pyramid, the higher the interest rate goes, because here the risk is higher for any NBFC or any bank. That's why they also charge a higher interest rate from customers. This is because, you see, a lower middle class customer in a small town will have a weaker credit profile compared to, say, a CA or lawyer who is taking a 40 to 50 lakh rupees home loan. In affordable housing, loan interest rates are around 12 to 15%, but for prime category home loans, the interest rate is just around 9 to 10%. So to summarize here, in affordable housing segment, the risk is higher, but if you manage the risk well and keep lending, then the margins here are also very good. They are very high. And the most important thing is that this segment is seeing very strong growth right now. Like the overall housing finance sector is growing at about 13 to 15% CAGR. But within housing finance, this affordable housing segment is growing annually at 21 to 23% rate. And the biggest reason behind this is the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, under which government is giving home loans to middle class and low income families at subsidized rates. The Modi government has been actively working on this scheme since FY23, and in the past few years, as you can see here, the budget allocation for PMAY has also increased significantly, and that's why there is very good growth coming in the housing finance sector, and I can easily place Home First among the top 5 housing finance companies. The next business that we will study is Thyrocare Technologies. It is a healthcare diagnostics company and they run pathology labs. Their main business is of running these diagnostic labs, from where most of their sales come. They have 39 labs across the country, and to run these, they have set up a network of more than 9,500 franchisees. This model works like this. Suppose a doctor asks you to get a blood test done. So you go to Thyrocare franchisee or any other center and you give your blood sample. Then that franchisee sends your blood sample to a lab, and within 1 or 2 days you get back your report and you either receive it on online. Thyrocare works on a B2B model. Their sales do not come directly from customers. Instead, they sort of provide their services to franchisee partners, other labs, clinics, hospitals, etc. So Thyrocare performs these tests and the reports that come to you under the name of those labs or hospitals. And compared to other players in the market, Thyrocare's pricing is quite competitive. Because of this, they have built a very good position in the industry, especially in smaller towns. Now, let us take a quick look at their results. As you can see in this screenshot, their sales have grown by 23% in Q1. These are very good numbers because their management had given guidance in mid-teens range only, that is around 14 to 16% sales growth. Their EBITDA margin has improved and the company has also benefited from operating leverage. That's why you will see that their bottom line growth has been also quite strong. Their net profit has increased by 62% to 38 crore. 90% of their sales come from pathology labs. The remaining 10% share is of radiology business. The pathology business saw very strong 25% growth. out of which 23% growth came from their own labs, and the remaining 2% share is of 6 Polo and Vimta labs. This is a business they recently acquired. And as you can see in this screenshot, out of this 25% growth, 15% share is from the number of tests performed. In Q1 of this year, they conducted almost 5 crore tests, which is a 15% increase over last year. The remaining 11% growth contribution has come from higher pricing. So we are seeing both value and volume growth. Additionally, if you look here on the right hand side, their franchisee network has also grown very well by 17% in just 1 year. They now have more than 9,550 franchisees across the country, and their yearly target is to open around 1,000 franchisees, which translates to about 10.5% network growth. Overall, Q1 results have been very good. In my opinion, Thyrocare will manage to do at least 20% sales growth for this full year. But the management has said that they will stick to their old 14 to 15% sales guidance for now, and they will comment on any change only after September results. Talking about the sector, 2022 and 2023 were poor years for diagnostic companies, but for the past 1 year, this sector has been seeing very good growth. Overall, this market is growing at a rate of 10%, but what's happening is that organized companies like Thyrocare and Dr. Lal Path Labs are taking market share away from small regional players. Their business growth is coming at over 15%. So Thyrocare is also a good business that you can study independently. Now you tell me in the comments which of these 4 businesses did you like the most, and if you did not like the video earlier, then please do like it now, and you can also subscribe to our channel. This will motivate us to work much harder for you. I'll see you in the next video. Happy investing.